Good morning and welcome back to another beautiful sunny day in London. Today, this video is all going to be about light and shadow. Why not make the most of the sunny weather, right? So I'm here in London. There's tons of great shadows and shapes and cutouts, and I'm going to talk about different ways you can use light and shadow to make your street photography a little bit more interesting. So join me. I'll go through all the techniques that I use and the spots that I use in London to get these types of shots. I hope you enjoy. Come on, let's go take some photos. I want this staircase, but I want it in a certain way. So you've got half of it in light, half of it in shadow. And I'm going to be shooting from the light side, so on the right. And hopefully capturing someone on the left as well. So someone coming down as someone's going up. That's the plan anyway. The thing with staircases, and the reason I love them so much, especially in sunny weather for photography, is everything casts its own shadow. So every individual step has its own shadow to it. There's different places you can isolate your subject, there's different places you can highlight your subject. And I think, the way when you've got buildings overhead and stuff like that, different shadows casting, that makes for a really interesting scene. And this one here is cast perfectly. So there's a big cloud overhead now. That's not ideal when we're talking about sunny days and light and shadow. But what you can talk about is the difference between being indoors and outside also creates that light and dark contrast. So you don't need to rely on harsh light from the sun to give you some good contrasting images. When you look out there, so compared to in where we are at the minute, it's a lot different in terms of the amount of light that you can capture in your image. So with this couple walking past, at the moment they're in the darkness, but as soon as they step out into the light, they're instantly now silhouettes. Even though the actual shot between light and dark isn't a lot at all, you do get that different contrast. And it's good. It's good to know that, even though I would prefer it to be blistering sunshine right now. Unpredictable, isn't it, street photography? Subjects and the weather. And here's another example. If you've got a place where you're inside but there's pillars in the wall that lead outside, you've got, even with hardly any light outside, you've still got the cut-ins between the shadow of the pillars and the light coming from outside. So take these people moving the tables, for example. You can see that they're being side lit from the outside, and you can see the contrast that the pillars are making along the floor, creating cool leading lines to the subject, but also you're not relying on that harsh summer light, as I said a minute ago. Just need someone to go up there now. This is Bank, in case you couldn't tell already. Another place in my first ever video that I made around London that I said you should go to. Sorry about that. Yeah, I like the way the light's hitting these stairs and leading to a subject that'll be standing up there. So that's what I was waiting for, and it happened. But yeah, Bank's always good when you've got good light. I've said this before. Bank is always quite a nice option. Everything's this sort of color and everything's nice sandstony colors, and I think it works quite well. When you've got someone either wearing dark clothing or when you've got someone that stands out from the background, at the very least, I think it works quite well. And the sun's actually staying out, which is also quite nice. I thought that cloud was there to stay, but we're good. We're all good. So usually in this location, on the opposite side of where we just were at Bank, this archway, when lit up by sun, you get two options. You get either the archway itself illuminated and you can highlight your subject, or you get a cut shadow. And either one I would like right now. But at the minute, the sun's behind a cloud. So I'm gonna wait, see if that changes. But I don't know what way the cloud's moving, whether it's moving that way, I don't know. So hopefully it moves that way, in which case the sun will be out any minute. But if not, we'll move on. But it's a nice area. The archway is big, it's prominent. It definitely frames the subject well. So moving on from Bank now, we're at One New Change. This is very much my usual typical day of street photography, the route I take. And the reason I'm at One New Change is because when it's sunny, the spiral staircase all the way down there has amazing light pockets right at the bottom of it, and they are really small, and you can isolate a solo subject in the bottom and someone at the top. I literally just did that. I really like it. They're literally mimicking each other but walking in opposite directions. I think it'll edit up really nicely. And then you've got this sort of like tempered glass walkway above us as well. And when people walk over it, you've got someone coming up now. When people walk over it, you see their feet, but that's it. It's quite an interesting perspective, to say the least. And yeah, when you get it right, you've got the reflections of the glass behind us, and you've also got the feet. It creates quite a cool perspective shot. So that's why I like it here when it's sunny. Makes something a bit unique out of the situation. If I focus to infinity, I might be able to get something here. The old typical through the phone box shot. So in terms of nostalgia, last time I was in this spot, I was sitting on some benches just behind us, and it was a nice time to talk about how there are three main types of lighting your subject. We're going to be talking about those again because as we're talking about light and shadow, I feel like it's more of a fitting video to do so. Behind us is a sunbather. We're going to use her as our subject. There are three different types of light. You've got front lighting, back lighting, and side lighting. And it's all about the position of you and the sun and not about the position of your subject. So say our sun is by those cranes right over there. And I position myself here and take a photo. That photo, our subject will be backlit. That is allowing us to get better silhouettes, and that's how I get my silhouette shots. Say the sun was in the trees just to our subject's left, and I am shooting from the exact same position. That would be side lighting. That allows us to get definition. Half of our subject will be in darkness, half of our subject will be in light. Same with if the sun was on the right hand side or any degree around that isn't directly behind or directly in front of the subject, that is called side lighting. If I am in the middle between our subject and the sun, which I currently am now, no matter if our subject is facing us or facing away from us, that is front lighting. Gives a nice rounded light, perfect for portraits and stuff like that. Really brightens the subject. So portraits is the main use case for front lighting. For me, I temporarily don't use front lighting so much. I feel like a lot of people do it. I like getting a bit more definition and a bit more mystery in my photos by either using side lighting or backlighting to create silhouettes. That's a very simple definition of the 3 different types of lighting. Right, so we made our way along the South Bank and through Westminster. Westminster is just so busy, especially in this weather. I can never get anything. But what I can get is around the Treasury buildings. It's nice and peaceful here, as you can hear. Nothing, really. And then the occasional couple or a single person walking through the scene. And what I'm trying to do is use a shadow to split the 2 people in half. So if I can get someone wearing dark in the shadow and someone wearing light in the sun, perfecto. And then we're going to walk through the parks and see what shadows and shapes we can create from there. And yeah, I'm sure it'll go well. Let's continue walking. So right opposite St James's Park is this archway that leads through. And in the sun, especially when the sun's on this side of the archway, you can get some nice shapes and shadow. As I said at Bank, I do really like a good archway. Don't know what it is about them, but they do create some real good depth to your images. And now the sun's actually out, I'll show you what I mean. You can get some really good shapes, silhouettes and stuff like that. But I think I might go through the arch and shoot back this way so the sun's beaming in and I can backlight my subject. So let's go. Okay, so we've made it to a place that I've took one of my favourites, if not my favourite shot ever. And it's this staircase here. Person's sitting on those steps and these handrails have lights underneath them, which creates a nice bit of light. And when you're here at pitch black, you can really have negative space above the light. The light gives a silhouette of the subject, and the person was a perfect height for sitting underneath the railing, and it created the perfect silhouette. I absolutely love the image. I thought I'd come here and see what I can get in the daytime when it's sunny, maybe like long drawn out shadows, but we're a bit too late for that. The sun's not high enough. But when the sun gets lower, your shadows get drawn out. And it's the same when you're early in the morning or late in the evening. If you're drawing out your shadows, it's called golden hour. It looks really nice. Everything has that golden element to it. So we'll see what we can catch in golden hour, and then I think we'll call it a day here. Yes, a little bit of shadow and silhouette. Need just someone who can in that corner. Just one of them. So that's been our full day of walking in London. I haven't been the most fruitful, but I've definitely got one or two that I like, and a further one or two that I think I'll edit up quite nicely. The nice weather like this is always a great time to shoot. Everyone is a bit more cheerful, there's more people about, you can get shapes and shadows as I've shown you. Just remember the 3 rules: front lighting, side lighting, back lighting. That's the best way to get your subject, and depending on what you're going for, you should light them accordingly. If they're not lit properly, you're not going to get the right images. But other than that, thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy, likes always appreciated, subscribe, and be sure to watch the other videos because we're trying to get our watch time up. Other than that, have a look at my Instagram. Purchase a zine if you want to support me even further. You can purchase a zine, link in the description. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.